Do you feel like you are wrestling God for the things that you want? Are you frustrated that you want to go for these things that you know are good things, but yet you are feeling the resistance of God? And you want those things because you feel like those things would make you really happy, and you're not sure why He's not giving them to you or allowing you to go for it. And it's very frustrating. Let's look at the story of Jacob, who experienced this very same thing. Remember when Jacob wrestled the angel? In Genesis 32:24, we read that Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. So let's go into what happened before this moment. Jacob was returning home after 20 years with his wives and children, but he was so afraid of his brother Esau. Jacob had stolen Esau's birthright and the firstborn's blessing, and he was very afraid of his brother's response to his return. And then he heard that Esau was coming with 400 men to meet him, and he really got afraid. And now he is in a complete state of panic and is crying out to God. Jacob had been a taker by the heel from his very birth. He had struggled with adversaries and done a lot in his own strength, in his own way. And God had blessed him in spite of his ways up until this point, but now he was really facing something. So this man from heaven came and wrestled with Jacob until the breaking of day. Why so long? Because Jacob would not relent. Because Jacob would not stop wrestling the man took his hand and put Jacob's thigh joint out of socket. Now from that one touch, Jacob could not stand alone. Now instead of wrestling, he was clinging to the man, begging for a blessing, knowing what was ahead of him. This is where Jacob learns not to be self-reliant, but to be reliant on one who is greater than he is. The man from heaven wrestled Jacob until there was no more Jacob left. Hence, he was renamed Israel. Jacob's name comes from the word akeb, which means heel. Jacob grabbed at things as he did with his brother. God changed Jacob's name to Israel, which means God strives. So it's no longer Jacob striving any longer. It's God himself striving for him. Now Jacob comes forth humbled and triumphant, relinquished and surrendered to the will of God. And when he sees his brother, it's like none of these bad things between them ever even happened. If God had not wrestled with Jacob, perhaps this scene would have looked totally different. If God had not taken down Jacob by dislocating his hip, he may have missed his destiny and calling for the rest of his life. God is wrestling us too for the same reason. We may get hurt too by the circumstances in our lives, but God is doing that so that we can finally relinquish and surrender all the control of our lives to Him so that we won't miss our destiny and calling also. God wrestled all the Jacob out of Jacob so He could rename him Israel, a nation strove for by God. And God wants to do that with you too.